Monster Hunter has a cheater problem. This reminds me of Queen Pounds a lot, or whatever was her name.
In 2023, the Monster Hunter World speedrunning community began to witness something astonishing. A Chinese speedrunner known as Bad Cat started to dominate the game in a way that no one had
Chinese speedrunner. I instantaneously assumed that's cheating.
ever seen. They were crushing world records left and right. It seemed like every few days they would upload a new world record, and there was no monster they couldn't completely dominate. This shouldn't really happen, at least not in Monster Hunter. This is because, as is true for many games when it comes to speedrunning, Monster Hunter is very luck dependent. Yes, in order to achieve world records you need a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge about the game, but you also need the monsters to cooperate. Monster behavior is random, and certain monster actions allow you to use more optimal strategies. If you get lucky.
Makes sense. That's what a lot of speedruns come down to nowadays, in especially newer games, that some kind of RNG is involved, and if you don't get it, well, you might as well give it up, because that's not going to be a good run.
And the monster chooses favorable actions, you can do damage quicker and kill them faster. Normally, players would need to grind monsters for a long time to get the best luck, but not this speedrunner. This force from the east would get optimal luck extremely quickly, far quicker than anyone else, and they were accumulating a world record tally that was unbelievable. The other speedrunners felt like this
Also, he's playing as a cat girl right there, which completely in character.
Shouldn't be possible, but just saying that someone is getting too lucky isn't really good enough, unless of course the odds are stupidly unrealistic. However, the real
This is what I'm saying constantly, by the way. There probably is a legit speedrun out there that got all of the impossible luck in one run, and they got the world record. But considering the chances and probabilities of that are so absolutely unbelievable, people just said, oh yeah, that's some sort of cheating. There probably exists a run like that already.
real truth would soon be revealed, when another speedrunner noticed that one of the monsters did something that shouldn't be possible. This wasn't an instance of monster behavior that was just unlikely, this was something no one else had ever seen before, not once in the history of the game. And sure enough, when experts checked the game files and examined the code, it was confirmed. This particular action at this particular time wasn't possible. It was clear that this speedrunner was modifying the game and changing the way that monsters behave in order to kill them faster. After they were exposed, this speedrunner stopped uploading runs, but on their very last upload, the title was different from the others. It now revealed the truth, that it was tool assisted. Monster Hunter has a cheating problem, and over the past several months, a slew of speedrunners have been exposed as hacking the game to get unrealistic monster behavior.
Oh my.
And what's worse is that they are racking up millions of views with unaware viewers that believe their achievements are completely real. In this video, we will take a look at how speedrunners are cheating their way into Monster Hunter fame and earning a pretty penny while doing it.
You can almost pick honestly any game, and there's going to be a bunch of people doing this. Monster Hunter is probably just one of the more appealing ones where this happens.
I really hope you enjoy. Now legends, this video is brought to you by the heroes over at Red Magic. Red Magic
Amazing.
to achieve a more unpredictable and interesting gaming experience. In speedrunning, enemy behavior is almost always one of the most impactful variables. We need enemies to do certain things at certain times in order to get things done in the quickest time. And in a game like Monster Hunter, monster behavior is almost everything. That's because the entire game revolves around fighting monsters. In Monster Hunter, players begin quests which involve slaying a particular monster. Once the monster is slayed and the quest is completed, the game shows your completion time. It's this in-game timer that speedrunners and the general community use to time their runs. Speedrunning Monster Hunter involves a lot of planning. Players theorize and craft special builds and try to plan out as best they can which skills and buffs they will implement and in what order. Players also need to plan when and where they will deal damage to fully take advantage of in-game mechanics. Each monster has unique damage thresholds that allow you to stun, stagger, or knock them down, and doing these at the optimal time will give you the greatest.
So this is why we see in some parts of the video someone is just doing a bunch of random small attacks, and in other parts it's a great sword to the head. Makes sense.
amount of control over the monster so you can continue to do as much damage as possible. This requires a lot of calculation, and runners spend a lot of time planning which attacks to use, when to use them, and which areas of the monsters to target. This is called scripting, and players will try to script as much of each fight as they can. However, as monsters become stronger and the fights grow longer, this adds more and more RNG into the mix. Obviously, if a fight is longer, a monster will execute more actions, and because each action is random, things become less and less predictable. And this is especially important because some actions are more beneficial than others. Some attacks don't require you to dodge or move around as much, and thus you can keep attacking and doing damage. The best Monster Hunter speedrunners have fights down to a science, and they know the best ways to punish any particular move a monster does. But because each move is punishable by a different amount, getting lucky is going to help you kill the monster quicker, and getting unlucky can completely destroy any chances of a new record. For example, when fighting against the monster Alatreon, which you will remember from my videos looking at
good old times, boys. Good old times. Never forget.
Queen Pontalot's fake blindfold runs, when using the heavy bow gun, runners hope that the monster does the lightning rain attack as much as possible. During this attack, the runner can continue to spam attacks and they don't need to move. One runner that got particularly lucky with Alatreon was a runner known as Deva. Deva is certainly one of the most well-known Monster Hunter speedrunners in the entire world, and have used their speedruns to help build a modestly successful YouTube channel, boasting over 70,000 subscribers and tens of millions of channel views. Deva is a really good speedrunner. On their About section, they claim over 50 speedrunning world records, and according to Deva himself,
that's a lot of speedrunning records. Is this gonna be a cheater, or is this gonna be one of the people who just got lucky, I wonder?
he is the #1 speedrunner in the world.
And now, right now, in the
I mean, yeah, I'm also the #1 speedrunner in the world. Don't even doubt it, brother.
position I am, I have no one to look up to. Like, I don't, sadly.
Oh.
And that's bad because you can't improve anymore. Like, you can't improve if you don't have anyone to look up to.
Deva was well known in the
That's, by the way, completely just blatantly not true in general. If you are the best, you can still find ways to improve. You don't always have to look up to someone to improve. That's just stupid.
speedrunning community for his lucky runs. And on his Alatreon runs especially, it was unbelievable how well behaved the monster seemed to be. For the past several years, Deva was light years ahead of the other speedrunners, beating Alatreon much faster than anyone else ever had. On his 2 fastest runs, Alatreon's behavior throughout the entire fight was almost identical, and Alatreon was spamming Lightning Rain more than anyone else had ever experienced. More specifically, and what's noteworthy, is that Alatreon did the Lightning Rain move twice.
2 times in a row, a classic, yeah. I'm pretty sure in almost no games, at least modern ones, enemy can do the same move twice. Monster Hunter is not old enough to be exempt from that.
In a row, which seemed to be particularly rare. The speedrunner Juzzy decided to look into these runs because they just seemed a bit suspicious. He asked other speedrunners if they had ever seen Alatreon use Lightning Rain twice in a row, and the answer was always no. No one else had ever seen it. Truthfully, no one else even thought it was possible for Alatreon to do this, and yet Deva had it happen multiple times. Juzzy then asked someone from the Monster Hunter modding community to look into the game's code, specifically the probabilities that govern Alatreon's behavior. And as it turns out, it should be literally impossible for Alatreon to do this move twice in a row. Juzzy confronted Deva about this, and initially, Deva completely denied it. But after learning that Juzzy was about to go public with a video exposing Deva's cheating, he confessed to changing the enemy's AI in order to get faster speedruns.
There is so-called THK files, which basically alter the percentage of certain moves, and that has been used in my Alatreon on the Charge Blade run, which had like a higher percentage to increase the lightning attacks.
Holy, so unexpected. Who would have seen this coming? Oh my world is burning all around me now.
What's interesting is that Deva claimed that hacking the game to do this isn't wrong.
Yeah, I love cheaters because they are hilarious people. First, they will vehemently be against the fact that they are cheaters. Then they're gonna accept that they are cheaters, but they didn't do anything too much wrong. They only did this, and that's probably not even a big deal. You should worry about it. then they say things like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. This is a small thing," and then they're again not cheaters because cheating is not cheating. The tumbleweed circuit of cheaters is beautiful.
According to Deva, it's not cheating if he changes enemy behavior because his speedruns are just for content and aren't competitive.
In my opinion, there is nothing wrong with it. It's RNG. It's RNG manipulation, just like everything else. Everyone can think differently. Of course, you can say
Dude, if you're setting something to 100%, that's no longer RNG. That is not manipulating anything. That is setting what happens.
it's an unfair advantage, but of course, as I said, I do non-competitive runs. It's just content.
But as shown before, this isn't how Deva advertises his channel. He says he has legitimate world records, and nowhere has he ever publicly stated on any of his runs that the enemy's behavior has been modified. And as a result, all of his viewers think they are real. And some of the comments are pretty funny when you know that he modifies the game. Despite what Deva claims, no reasonable person would ever see these videos and think they were anything other than a legitimate speedrun. And beyond this, Deva is just straight up lying.
Yeah, especially considering you know who's watching your videos, aka who watches these speedruns. People who don't even play the game. I don't play Monster Hunter. I have no idea what's happening. If I see a speedrun, I mean, that's probably a speedrun. I ain't gonna search if this is correct or incorrect or whatever. That just does not happen. Most people who watch this stuff are not even accustomed to the game. There's a bunch of people who just watch speedruns because they're cool, and that's it.
While the main Monster Hunter World speedrunning leaderboards are no longer updated, Deva did submit his runs to them in the past, and his runs, which were world records at the time, are confirmed to also be hacked because of impossible enemy behavior. What's also troubling is that according to Deva, many other players are doing the same thing. And he knows this because they asked him directly for the same software that allows him to do it.
You know what's the crazy part here? This is why the cheating won't stop. Exactly because of this. This guy modded the behavior of these monsters to an obscene degree, obviously, to the point where they do impossible things. And people, how long did it get for people to catch on? Forever, pretty much. Now imagine someone just modifies the probability a tiny bit. You modify the probability a tiny bit for your best outcomes, and, well, yeah, the boss did use that move a little bit more than usual, but that's just lucky, and everyone's gonna buy it. This is insane.
And a lot of people use it. I won't mention any names, but I cannot count with two hands how many people use THK editing for that, especially on Alatron. Many of your friends, many runners that you know, and I have screenshots of many people that ask for it, but of course I won't out any of it.
Remember at the beginning of the video I described the Chinese speedrunner Badcat, who was dominating the game throughout the past year. This was actually one of Deva's friends, though it was a different impossible behavior that exposed him. During the fight Calf Taroth, the monster did a move right before dying called Max Punch. This move had never been seen during this particular phase of the fight by other speedrunners, so the monster's behavior was decompiled, and it was proven that this behavior was impossible. And against Alatreon, the monster performed the sweeping fire breath move when Badcat was standing relatively close. Usually this move is only performed when you're some distance away. At least, that was the experience of all of the other speedrunners. And once again, after looking at the game's code, they found it was impossible for Alatreon to choose that particular attack when you're standing that close. On the 1st of May, Juzzy uploaded a video of these findings. Previously, Badcat was uploading a new world record every few days, but after Juzzy's video, he uploaded one last video with the title, including the tag TAS, indicating a tool-assisted speedrun, and he hasn't been seen since. Another friend of Deva.
Yeah, we kind of know this. You already said that. Or am I completely tripping?
Was a speedrunner known as Retro. He claimed the fastest Alatreon kill using the hammer, and his run again involved ridiculous luck, meaning that no one else was even close. In his case, on top of being lucky, Alatreon exhibited behavior that no one else had ever seen. After taking a certain amount of damage, Alatreon will transition into his dragon state, and after this transition, after performing several attack combos, Alatreon normally jumps into the air and begins to fly. For melee
But he did not.
weapons, this greatly limits their ability to do damage. However, in Retro's run, Alatreon never flew, not a single time, and this allowed Retro to continue doing maximum damage with the hammer. And once again, when this specific area of Alatreon's code was examined, it was confirmed that after 3 or 4 attack combos, Alatreon is programmed to always fly. And the fact that Alatreon didn't fly on Retro's run confirmed that he was modding his game. When he was exposed,
Hey, just got lucky, boys. It is what it is. The good players get lucky.
Retro claimed that he was using a no-fly mod to make his casual play more fun, and he accidentally left it on. It's important to remember that a lot of the things that caught these runners out, these impossible monster behaviors, weren't intentional. It was an unintended side effect of modifying the probabilities of certain moves. But now that the impossible behavior has been identified, these modders will simply make their hacks more sophisticated, and these blemishes will be patched out. These are just several examples. Even more cheaters have been caught, and there are a lot of other speedrunners that also show these same telltale signs of being too lucky. If what Deva is saying is true, many more speedrunners are indeed using mods. And given that these cheaters all spawned from the same group, it's obvious they were all in on it together. This never used to be such a widespread problem in Monster Hunter. It seems to have arisen within in the last several years.
Yeah, it arose probably in the last several years when people understood, wait a minute, I can be a 50 to 100k YouTuber and still make a very decent living. So why not do that? Plus, I get fame, notoriety for being the best at something, you know. All the girls, I'm just kidding, there's no girls on the internet, they don't exist. Anyway, yeah, it makes sense. Because who are you gonna watch? The guy who needs 10,000 runs to get one good attempt? Or the guy who constantly gets good attempt and is always hype about the fact that, oh my god, I'm breaking my own speed world record again. Yeah, it's easy to tell who's the more entertaining one. And if that brings money, well, as long as anything actually makes money, someone's gonna try and abuse it.
And the reason is pretty logical. The Monster Hunter franchise has been around since 2004, but 2018 is when Monster Hunter World was released. This was an important entry to the franchise, because it was the first game to be released for the PC. PC is fantastic for the modding community, because so many tools already exist for the PC that allow people to access and edit game files and modify the game. It is much harder to modify games on console, because there is the added barrier of needing to develop specific software just to read and write files. And then when it comes to speedrunning on a PC, these modding tools also make it so much easier to cheat. On a PC, it's usually really simple to download a program that easily communicates with your game and changes the way it behaves. It's much harder to find software that could achieve these same goals on a console. So this recent epidemic of players cheating by modifying the game's AI is a result of the game being released on the PC. And sure enough, all of the players that are caught cheating in this way play on PC. Unfortunately, this new wave of cheaters have done irreparable damage to the Monster Hunter World speedrunning community. It's honestly
I don't know about that. As a casual bystander, I think this absolutely doesn't matter. If you're not ingrained in the community, who cares? Because, well, if a lot of cheaters come out, then suddenly everyone is just looking at everyone around them and thinking, these fuckers are probably cheating. Which, by the way, creates more cheating, as fun as that sounds.
Impossible to know just
if everyone's cheating, if everyone's taking advantage of something, you're a fool to not take advantage of it theoretically.
How real something is if there aren't any glaringly obvious errors like impossible enemy AI. People will still continue to speedrun because they love the game, but they will always have to contend with other runners who modify the game and upload fake runs to YouTube. It's a sad situation all round, and especially for those dedicated runners that really do play the game legitimately. Thanks for watching, you legends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
Whoa, that was Carl Drops. Anyway, bye-bye.